All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. My name is Reef. I'm your host of the Voice of the Colts podcast here with episode number 11. The Indianapolis Colts went to Seattle on Sunday. We lost 18-16. We now fall to 8-6 overall record, 2-5 on the road. Still in the playoff hunt, but kind of still on the outside looking in. And it was the debut of a one Philip Rivers, another debut of Philip Rivers, 44 years old, still kicking. We'll get into his performance down the line as well. But I do have another guest to introduce to you guys, a second-time guest. Jesse is here with us. Jesse, say what's up to the people, man.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good Monday.
Yes, sir. I mean, Colts fans probably not having a great Monday. I know the whole world had a much better time watching Philip Rivers than we did. I think it would have been really nice to watch Philip Rivers return at 44 years old, 4.5 years removed, if he wasn't playing on our team and we weren't playing for a playoff spot. Like, if we had like 4 wins at this point, I think I would be a lot happier with what happened and just seeing him in general playing for our football team in 2025. I think I would have been able to enjoy it a lot more. It was a rough one. Defense put up a great fight. We'll talk about the defense as well today, and we'll also get into a little bit of off-season stuff. I think it makes no sense to not start with Philip Rivers. So, real quickly, I'm gonna get you guys into his stat line, and we'll go from there. So, Philip Rivers threw 18 for 27. 120 yards, 4.4 yards average per completion, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked 1 time for only 2 yards. He didn't really get sacked. He slipped on his drop back and he was back like 6 yards, got up and still managed to get us as close to the line of scrimmage as he could. So, showed some life there. He ended with a 73.1 quarterback rating. Jesse, tell me, man, how do you feel his performance? Give me a grade, A through F. How do you feel he would be graded at the quarterback position on Sunday?
Now, are we grading that on a curve because he's been out for 5 years and he's 44, or just
I don't like to grade on the curve. We've talked about this in the Discord. I was very adamant. I was extremely adamant that I will not change the way that I judge the position of quarterback in the NFL because of who's playing it. A job has to get done. Doesn't matter if you're 44, 24, 34, whatever your age is. Doesn't matter, fractured fibula. If you're suiting up and you're getting under center, there's an expectation. And I grade based off of that expectation. So
I would really say a C plus. He looked rusty. He looked like a guy who just got off his couch. The thing that, and the thing I don't like about Rivers, and this is what even in his prime, um, on those 4th downs, he tries to get people off sides. That doesn't work like it does in the NFL. So some of his old habits are still there. Um, I would, like I said, I gave it a C plus. He can read the defense. He can make the changes at the line that needs to be changed. He can really change the plays. I'm 50-50. I think he was calling his own plays at one point out there as well. But I'd give it a C plus. Um, and that was against the number 1 defense in the league. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't very good either. So I think C plus is C plus B minus. I think that's pretty fair for all things considered.
yeah, okay. So C plus, and I can see why we want to be a little bit more forthright. So personally, I'm giving him an F. I'm giving him an F, and I'll tell you something about this game that really stood out to me, which should stand out to everybody, is the fact that the ball didn't travel more than 5 yards down the field. Maybe it did like 4 different occasions. It traveled 5 yards down the field, maybe on 4 separate occasions, on 27 attempts. I think, and I listed this out, I saw 3 throws that I was like, that's an NFL throw. 3 of them. Out of his 18 completions, we had the laser to Tyler Warren in the first half. He threw one that's kind of like on his back shoulder on the crossing pattern that he just threw an absolute dart. He threw that one fourth quarter throw to Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce's only catch, which I thought, again, beautiful throw. Alec
Yeah.
Pierce gets him up, gets it. He does what he does. We know what Alec Pierce is capable of. He does what he does there. And then the Josh Downs touchdown throw, it was by no means like impressive of a throw, but because it's a touchdown, I have to put it on the list. It's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And you're throwing a touchdown at 44 years old, 44 and a half years removed from the league. I'm going to have to give you credit for that. Like, I can't just sit there and be a hater and be like, oh, he didn't do anything good. He did some things good. I think, and you mentioned like the trying to draw them offsides. That's just such a standard in the league. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. The dudes are going to do their hard count to get. The problem with him doing it in Seattle was nobody can hear you do a hard count anyway. they're screaming so loud.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You have like, there's no reason to even attempt it. I mean, there's a reason to attempt it because there was no chance you were actually going to go for it. You could spare the 5 yards, so you might as well line up and see if you get lucky. I don't have a problem with that at all. Which that goes into the play calling on Shane Steichen, which I'm probably the only person left on the planet that still doesn't mind his play calling. But okay, that could be a topic for later on in the show. But yeah, man, I don't see. I just didn't see NFL quarterback from Phillip Rivers on Sunday. There was nothing to me that when you complete 18 passes and you get 120 yards on the ground, like, dude, we should have ran 50 times at that point. What was the point of throwing the football in at all?
So and that's tough because with Seattle, on some of those crucial runs, I mean that defense got JT down. I mean they were already in the backfield by the time that ball was snapped. So I get trying to throw, but let's be honest, Philip Rivers is a spring chicken. He's not gonna launch the ball like Daniel or Anthony would. Um,
Why not
going.
Riley? We didn't see. I noticed you didn't say Riley Leonard's name. We don't know if Riley can launch that thing.
I mean, I watched Riley Leonard play in college, and he didn't really have the throw. He didn't throw it downfield as well. He was more of a runner. He was.
I mean,
It's
but I
funny
saw
because
some. Listen, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an expert on Riley Leonard, but I saw some throws that he made that you got him down the field and he made some decent throws and decent passes. And even against Jacksonville, I saw some throws. I was like, damn, dude can throw it. He can actually get the ball down the field. Definitely did a lot better throwing down the field than Phillip Rivers did. That's
yeah.
undeniable.
So I think with Riley is that he's a lot. He's not as accurate. With Phil, he doesn't have the arm strength, but he's a little more accurate. But it's just it goes back to it.
Yeah.
It's like it's floating. It's like the ball's floating, and it would be easy to pick off. Now I did see him at the last interception he threw. That looked like an NFL throw to me, to the wrong team, of course. He heaved it. He had velocity on it. So I don't know if he
Mm-hmm.
was conserving his arm
Sure.
strength or doing what, but that looks pretty good. There was a throw to Pitt that was pretty good too. That was kind of vintage Rivers, and then there was a ugly
What is
pass he
that's a little
threw.
slant route that he threw to Pittman or whatever it was? Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
I saw that too, and I was like, you
yeah,
know what? But the only reason I didn't include that on my list was because, like, dude, I just think that there's 100% of quarterbacks that are making that throw. I don't think a single
yeah.
quarterback at the NFL level will not make that throw.
So and I get it. I get with Rivers. I understand completely with Philip Rivers. You are still in the playoff hunt. The problem is going to a rookie Riley Leonard who's only been in this offense for what, um, 6 months? No, 8 months, 8 months. And I think the brass has the idea that Philip Rivers can give you the best chance to win simply because he knows the offense in and out, and he's been in the league for so long that he's seen every type of defense. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think I wasn't excited about the idea. I was at the point where I said, you know what, F it, why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, but well, can I say something though, just to interject a little bit on that? So, like, I get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
point, I get that perspective because everyone brings that up, and that was originally one of the things that I used to kind of cope with the idea of we sign him. Because if you watched the podcast episode last week when we announced that Phillip Rivers was a starter, I said my very very initial reaction was this is comical, and then I started to think about it more. I was like, he does know the offense, and he's not going to need to learn a new playbook or anything. Sure, yada yada.
mm-mm.
My only stance on this is, well, look at our offense this week. Didn't look good.
Yeah.
Didn't matter that he knew the offense because we still couldn't execute the offense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we kept the game close, and we'll talk a little bit about how the defense did, and you know, the fact of the matter is, it was a close game against a team that is one of the better teams in the NFL. So it was very shocking, which is gonna have a lot of people saying something along the lines of, "Well, Philip did really good because with all things considered," which I just hated that. You saw me. We're in the Discord talking to each other, and you could tell how annoyed I was getting about it because it's like, dude, in no world did I watch what I saw and was like, that's a good performance for an NFL quarterback. It's a good performance for a 44-year-old, 4.5 years removed from the NFL. Sure, but that's not what I'm judging that position on. That's not what I'm judging his performance on. I'm judging his performance as a starting quarterback of a team that's fighting for a playoff. And when I'm looking at it from that window, that point of view, it was awful. And it's 120 yards is not going to cut it in the NFL. Completing passes 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, like there is zero difference between Philip Rivers throwing the ball and handing it off to Jonathan Taylor. Both plays are starting from 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like both instances, you're starting behind the sticks and hoping to make guys miss and move forward. And it's just not a way that we're going to win football games like that. And I think that we got the coaching is getting way too ahead of itself with like this manic need to immediately replace someone that's not on our roster. Because like I said, Riley Leonard, it didn't look great against Jacksonville, but I would disagree with anyone that said he looked awful. I think he was bad. Like he didn't play well, but it's only one half of football you're judging it off of. And I brought up the point with Loki, one of the other members in the Discord, where the reason I say, and I'll ask you your opinion on this in a moment here. The reason I say we need to start Riley Leonard for the rest of the season and not Philip Rivers is not because I think Riley Leonard gives us a better chance to win. And he maybe does. I think the difference between the chance in winning with Riley starting and with Philip is so negligible. It's, if anything, they're both 3% chances to win. You know, like they're so low regardless. The only reason I say this is because we actually don't know what it is with Riley Leonard. Like, we don't know at all what we have with Riley Leonard. You can judge him based off his college resume, but that doesn't do anyone justice because there's guys that were amazing in college and terrible in the league. There are guys that were not that great in college that are good in the league, and it takes time to get good in the league. So none of that is really relevant to me. What I want to know is, hey, we have 4 games, now 3 games left in the season. We have a guy on our roster who will be on our roster next year while we have decisions to make in the offseason that we have no intel on whatsoever, which is absolutely asinine. The only intel you have is what you've seen in practice. Practice is not the game. Those are very different things. There are guys that don't practice well that play very well. I think Philip Rivers was one of those guys earlier on in his career that they would say, like, didn't really wow you in practice, but dude, when he gets on that field, you got a super solid chance to win a football game. So there are guys that are like that. So I don't like the judgment of Riley Leonard based off of what they think they see in practice and what you saw in college football, because this is just different. Let's get an answer, because if we have a guy like Riley Leonard, who, let's say he wins us the next 3 games, which isn't going to happen. Shane Steichen already announced Philip Rivers is starting against the Niners, which we'll talk about Shane Steichen in a moment, but he's already starting against the Niners, right? I say we should be starting Riley Leonard going into these next 3 games, because then you get the answer. You say, if Riley Leonard can win 2 of those 3 games, or 1 of those 3 games, 2 of which are divisional games that can lead us into the playoffs, if he can come away with 1 or 2 of those wins, I think the Colts can feel a lot more comfortable going into the offseason, negotiating with Daniel Jones, and not having to bend the knee out of desperation for a guy coming off an Achilles injury. Because as it stands right now, we don't really have an option but to re-sign Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, if he commands $35 million a year, like right around that neighborhood or something, that handicaps us a little bit when it comes to building this roster and keeping a lot of the guys on the team, including a guy that we both really love, Alec Pierce, which we talked about. And I know you have that suggestion. I'll let you bring that up in a moment. We know that that's an option, but I would rather have a little more leverage. Like, hey, listen, you just tore your Achilles. We had you on a 1-year, $14 million deal. Things were going really good, then they were going bad, and now you're out, all right? Let's try this again. 1 year, 18, 20 million if you have to, right? Get it again. And I think the Colts can feel a lot more comfortable going into those negotiations, especially if they feel like, hey, if you can't, we don't have to rush you out there, right? Because like when you sign a guy, 3 years, 35 million per, 40 million per,
Mhm.
you're gonna want to see him on the field. We won't have the necessity to rush him out before he's 100% ready. If we have a guy that we saw win two late season games for us in a playoff push, we're like, oh damn, Riley Leonard actually isn't the worst case scenario to start for us if Daniel Jones needs a little bit more time rehabbing before the start of the season, right? So to me, starting Philip Rivers does literally nothing for you. It doesn't give you a better chance to win, at least not something tangible, like you could see that you have a better chance, because it clearly didn't look like we had a better chance to win, at least by the standard of play from the quarterback. So I don't think you have any real advantage to starting Philip Rivers. So that's why to me it doesn't make sense. There's no logic involved in that. But I did want to ask you, how do you feel about Philip Rivers starting at least going into next week?
I feel a little more comfortable. I feel a little more comfortable with it because Seattle. I mean, here's the thing: if the Colts would have won, they wouldn't have won because of Philip Rivers. They would have won because of the
Absolutely agree.
defense. The
Absolutely agree.
that that defense was lights out. Did Philip Rivers do manage the game enough to be able to put us, to be able to score a field goal and win? Yes,
Yeah, but
against
barely.
Seattle
We
scored.
have to
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that because he only gained like 20 yards on that drive on like eight
yeah,
plays, and we
yeah,
had to kick a 60-yarder, Groupie's career
yeah,
long to do it. Like I don't know if we can
yeah.
say
And
that.
so, and that's what I'm saying. Like he managed the game enough. They were up for most of the game, and really just watching that game, it really felt like
We were up.
Indianapolis was in control
Yeah.
for the entire game. And then Philip just the three and outs. The three and outs didn't help, and some of the decisions that Steichen made on the play calling, which we'll get to later, were just kind of confusing. But
In
with a
fairness, he
mind
only had
like
two
Philip,
three and outs. In fairness, he did only have two three and outs.
oh, 2, 3, and okay,
Yeah.
and with a mind like Philip Rivers, I expected more. Like I expected more first downs. I don't want to say I expected more touchdowns, but I expected more field goals at least. And just to him manage the game, you know, whenever and run the ball when we need to, pass when we need to. Um, so going into San Francisco's just as hurt. The Niners,
Hmm?
they're just as hurt as the Colts. I mean, you got Fred Warner's out, Nick Bosa's out. They've got a whole bunch of injuries across the defense, and it's one of those defenses that Philip Rivers has seen. So I feel more comfortable with Philip Rivers.
Hmm?
But with that being said, if they don't win this Monday night game, I think you have to go to Riley Leonard. And I think in this game, I think in this Niners game, and this is gonna be bright and bold to say, I expect Riley Leonard to even be in the game on different packages. Kind of like how
Wow. A dual quarterback
Andrew,
setup, huh?
yeah, kind of like how Andrew Luck and Jacoby Brissett used to do it back in the day, where Jacoby would throw the deep ball, and Andrew would come in and play. So I kind of want to see that just to see what you can do with Riley's legs and Philip's mind. So I wouldn't be surprised if Riley Leonard if they decided to run some wildcat with Tyler Warren being the quarterback and Riley Leonard kind of going out there to maybe catch, maybe throw a flea flicker here or two. Because Robert Saleh is the Niners defensive coordinator, and that man is good. He's
I
a
love
really good
Robert.
defensive coordinator.
I love
I do
Robert.
too.
I honestly, I'm sad that he didn't get and find enough success in New York. I really wish he found more success as a head coach in New York. I love Robert Saleh, and I would love to bring him in
Yeah.
as a DC if we lose Lou Anarumo, which it wouldn't happen. I don't think he'd make a lateral move out of San Fran, but
No.
Robert Saleh's the
I,
man.
I yeah. I think if Robert's going to leave anywhere, he's going to be a head coach again. At this point, I don't think the Niners. And I think with same with Lou. I don't think the Colts are going to let Lou go because I know the Giants position's open, but that's a bigger dumpster fire than what the Colts
I
could
don't think we
possibly
have a
be.
choice. I don't think we're gonna get the choice in that. Lou's gonna want a head coach
Yeah.
job, and so if he decides to go, he decides to go. Personally, I wouldn't be that upset with Lou leaving. I don't think it would make a massive difference. I think our defense has played well, but not so
Mhm.
incredibly well that I'd be like sad that we lost the defensive coordinator. Like they are
Yeah.
middle of the pack at best on defense right now. Granted,
Yeah.
there's injuries that could be the cause of that, and we'll leave that up to interpretation. But I personally, I don't see a world where Lou Anarumo has transformed this defense. I think we're right around our standard, right around where we've been for a very long time.
Right.
But it's actually a good transition to get into the defense. But before we do, I'm going to play a quick clip. I don't believe you're going to hear it because I don't have the stream on Discord. But I'm going to play a quick clip from my TikTok on the predictions I made on this game for you guys to hear, and we'll see how close I got. So this was me on Wednesday, I believe. I recorded this episode on Wednesday. This was me on Wednesday when we announced Philip Rivers would be starting for this game. Yesterday, I believe I said 37-13 was the score, was my score prediction. And I believe I said Riley Leonard's going to throw 2 picks. I believe I said he's going to have a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. We're going to go for 2, and we're not going to make it. And that's how we get 13 points. And I think I said somewhere along the lines of like 160 yards passing. If Philip Rivers plays in Seattle on Sunday, my official prediction for this football game is Seattle Seahawks win 37-16. I gave us 3 extra points versus what I said with Riley Leonard. So we'll lose 37-16. We'll get an extra field goal out of it. I think Philip Rivers throws 2 interceptions. I'll give him a touchdown. 1 touchdown passing. I think it'll go to Michael Pittman Jr. I think he'll throw for 215 yards. His first game. 200. Okay, so Jesse, I'm gonna let you know what I said on that clip. I'm not sure because I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I said that we were gonna lose this game 37-16. I gave Seattle 19 more points, but I got our score correct. I also said that Philip Rivers was gonna throw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I said that he was going to throw 1 of the touchdowns to Michael Pittman, and it ended up being Josh Downs. So I got pretty close. I did underestimate our defense severely. Did not expect our defense to come out and show out the way they did, especially with Mooney Ward, Sauce Gardner, DeForest Buckner all missing that game. So shout out to the backup. Shout out to the next man up. They did a great job with that, which again leads us into the conversation of the defense. Let's give the defensive grade. What would you give our defensive unit as a whole? What grade would you give them as a whole?
Minus 100%.
What was it?
Minus.
What's the grade? What's the letter?
Oh, A minus.
A minus. Got you. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I heard minus, and I'm like, minus what? All right. So A minus for the grade. That's the grade you get. Go ahead and explain the grade, man.
Again, A minus. There are some plays that they really gave up some big yardage on. You know, and the reason, and really a lot is them going prevent defense in the second half when I think they should have went balls to the wall, foot on the throttle. You had them there, you had them, and then and that's the thing I hate about modern NFL defenses is they for some reason they go to that defense, they go to that prevent defense, and it's just teams are going to score, they're going to get a lot of yards on you, and they might score, but it's to prevent them from a big play. That's the reason I gave him an A minus. I'd give Waiatu Latu an A plus.
A plus.
Personally,
Oof.
I give him an A plus. That dude got some sacks.
He got 1 sack. I'll tell you what though, I would give him an A plus for the first half. I might give him a D for the second half. Dude was invisible in the second half. And I think that's been a problem for him all year long is late in games, we don't get the Latu pressures that we want to see from him.
Yeah.
Late in games, I think there's a problem with him there.
I think another one that I really want to shout out is Jermaine Pratt.
Oh, yeah.
He has picked it. I give that guy probably like a B plus, maybe an A. I mean, he's really like I think he resigns next year if Lou stays. If Lou doesn't stay, I think he goes to wherever he goes.
All right, so I have a game for you then. I know most fans aren't fans of PFF. I love PFF personally. I'm a big fan of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. I want you to guess who our highest graded defensive player was per PFF.
Like yesterday in yesterday's game
Yeah, on defense. Our highest graded
on
defensive
defense.
player on PFF.
Uh, I don't know. Jermaine Pratt.
Jermaine Pratt actually did not grade very well for PFF.
Really?
Jermaine Pratt was he was a 47.2 defensive grade for that game. The guy that graded the highest
Wow.
was a guy that I shout out kind of often, but I also don't think we're going to see him next year, is Nick Cross. He was the one that led the
Mm.
team with his grade. He had a
Yeah.
77.7, just barely over Samson Ebukam, who had a 77.6.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it was
Well,
apparently
you know what?
PFF
Cross
doesn't
is a
agree with
good
you. I
player.
love Jermaine Pratt. I think he's played fantastic at
Yeah.
linebacker position for us. It's been a good job. If I had to give a grade for the defensive side of the football for this football game
Mm.
against Seattle Seahawks, I would say they got a C plus, maybe a B minus. Now let me explain why. Obviously, when you're facing a team as highly prolific as offense, that's as highly prolific as the Seattle Seahawks, you would expect them to put up 25 plus points. They average just around
Mm.
30 points a game. So the fact that they only gave up 18 points is very, very good. I will say,
Mm-hmm.
though, we gave up scores on 6 of their 10 drives. They scored on 60% of their drives. They were able to get into field goal range every time. They never kicked a field goal that was like seemingly out of range. I think 55 was their deepest field goal, which is like it's a
Mm-hmm.
tough one to make, but not necessarily out of range.
Yeah.
We had 1 sack. We had 0 turnovers. I think they played well. I think they gave the offense every opportunity to put this game away, and the offense was infinitely worse than the defense this week.
For the most part.
But I still won't go as far as saying they were an A plus or A minus defense because no turnovers, 1 sack, gave up a score on
Mm.
60% of the drives. At the end of the day, it's winning football if you have an offense. It's losing football when you
Mm.
don't. And right now we don't have an offense. We went from best offense in the league to one of the worst. And it's showing from the defensive side. I think that our defensive side of the football needs major work. And I know we're hurt and we're injured. So forgive me if I'm being a little irrational here. But we're
Well,
not getting to the quarterback very often. We haven't been forcing a lot of turnovers, and we're giving up a lot of freaking points. Like
mm.
that's the biggest issue that I have is we're giving up way too many points. We won the possession battle in this game against
Mm-hmm.
Seattle. I think we held it for like 32, 33 minutes where Seattle was under 30. We barely, but we won the possession battle. But we got completely outgained. We got outscored. We got outplayed in less time with Seattle. So again, I don't think they played very bad, but I don't think they played very good either. They're right kind of in that
Yeah.
middle average area. And I think we just so desperately need something to revamp this defense. And I think the obvious choice is going to be a pass rusher. We know Trey Hendrickson is going to be on the market. We know obviously we got second round draft picks, and we have our mid round draft picks where Chris Ballard shines. He just never really gets a good pass rusher in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, in the spirit of the Colts season, we have another 44-year-old that might be itching to play again. His name is Robert Mathis. Maybe if the Colts want to do something else very special, we bring Robert Mathis back onto the team, and we have another 44-year-old guy trotting out to the field. He hasn't played in much longer, I think, and I forget what year he retired, but probably been longer than Phillip Rivers, so it'd be much worse. But why not? We're throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks at this point. Am I right?
I mean, why not? I mean, he's a little younger, but I'd probably bring Dwight Freeney out of retirement. I mean, he was on that Super Bowl team in Atlanta. And I'm sure he's itching for another one.
Whoa, was he
He
really? He was
went
on.
to
He
the
was on
Super Bowl.
Atlanta when they went to the Super Bowl.
I think so. Yeah. Let me check.
That is pretty cool. I actually did not know that. Dwight Freeney, believe it or not, Dwight Freeney was one of my favorite players like ever. I love Dwight. I used to like practice spin moves, and I would do the salute all the time. Anytime I got a sack in Madden, I would do the salute in real life. That was my guy. Dwight
Hmm.
Freeney was always one of my favorite players.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So Dwight Freeney, yeah, 2016 he was
Oh, you know
fine,
what? That makes me
and
hate
then he
Tom Brady
played.
even more. That makes me hate
Yeah,
Tom Brady way
yeah,
more.
yeah. He
Like,
was he was still good. He was a star. He started in that Super Bowl,
wow.
and like yeah, because I think Dwight Freeney got a sack on Tom Brady that game,
Yeah.
and then he played a couple seasons more. Than he retired.
You know, as I think more about this defensive situation that we're in, and I know a lot of people, I've talked about this in the past podcast where I said I don't think it makes a lot of sense for us to let go of Zaire
Mm.
Franklin going into next year because it just doesn't really do anything for us. Like getting rid of him does
Mm.
literally nothing for us. It saves us $5 million.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna tell me you're gonna replace him with somebody at $5 million and get more value back? I just don't see that being a thing. Like I think we roll
No.
with Zaire. I don't know where it is that we get the help that we need. And again, I think Trey Hendrickson is he's a name that was thrown out all throughout the year leading up to the trade
Mm.
deadline. There's obvious interest. We were in talks with them. They were asking for too much. They were asking for Grover Stewart and a third-round pick for
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, so that was too high of an asking price. I don't know the amount of money we'd be able to allocate to him. This goes back to we might have to trade MPJ, Michael Pittman Jr.
Mm.
for some flexibility there. Or
Yeah.
maybe we don't re-sign Daniel Jones and we work with a little bit more money on deck and we go into the season with Riley Leonard and Anthony Richardson. I don't know. We don't know how this is gonna go. There's a million ways. I just think that
Um,
I don't think there's a need to blow up the defense. There's just a need for an X factor because DeForest Buckner, as good as he is he going to be able to stay on the field? Or is he going to look like
yeah.
himself? I mean, he has a neck injury or a back injury?
He has a neck injury.
He has a
Is what's
neck. Yeah.
been
So the
keeping him out.
neck
Yeah.
and I think either or, if it was either one, regardless, I think you're in a little bit of trouble because there
Mm.
is no, you're not 100% sure the player that you're going to get back when he comes back. And
Mm.
he's obviously getting older. So we need an X factor beyond DeForest Buckner that can really make plays for us on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that is being overshadowed right now because of the circus we have at quarterback. And I think that
Yeah.
if the Colts, if we were go into the offseason and we were to sign Trey Hendrickson and not re-sign Daniel Jones, I am going to be one of the very, very loud minorities that are going to be like, because I am a minority, but no, but the loud minority being
I
that
do.
there's not a
I
lot of people
do.
that are going to be happy about it. I'll be kind of happy about it. I would be excited to get the pass
Hmm.
rusher in. I'm not. I'm not going to be mad if we re-sign Daniel Jones because I do think he's a good quarterback. I just don't feel comfortable with him. So that's why I would lean a little bit more towards let me get an X factor on defense because
Hmm.
that can help us mask some of the deficiencies we have on offense. If we had a better pass rush that didn't end with just one sack, they got some pressures. They definitely got pressures
Yeah.
on Sam Darnold, but they just didn't land the sacks and they only forced 4 punts because of that. If we were to able to get back there a little bit more often, a little bit more effectively, I think we win this football game. And that's with
Hmm.
a 44-year-old Philip Rivers who can't throw the ball 5 yards down the field. If you could beat a team like Seattle with a quarterback like Philip Rivers, that means you would need to
Hmm.
have an all-time really, really good defense. And I think it starts with that pass rush. And it's inexcusable how bad we were in the second half. Defensively, we could
Yeah.
not touch the guy, and it was unbelievable.
I don't know what it is about the Colts, but for some reason, and this was with Gus Bradley, and this was with, um, oh gosh, what's his name?
Eberflus, just say it.
Uh, Eberflus, and
I
even
hate
before
him.
that with Pagano.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the Colts, but for some reason they don't have a pass rush. Even even when Pagano had Freeney, Mathis, um, what
With
was his
Justin
name?
Houston at one time with Pagano and
Justin
Houston, I thought
Houston.
Justin Houston was a monster for us. He was a big playmaker for us.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get like his career high sack numbers or anything with us, but dude, he was
Hmm.
making plays. If the ball was loose, he was on it, and he was always
Yeah.
around the football. And Danico Autry, oh dude, Danico Autry, I raised hell when we
Nico
got rid of
Autry.
Danico. I love Nico. How
Yeah.
he was a dog, man. Yeah, we got rid of some
Yeah.
dogs. I
Nico
think
was.
we had guys, and I think we've always had guys It's
Mhm.
just it hasn't been as effective. I think it's because we're pampered. We went from having Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney to now we're looking at Samson Ebukam and
Yeah.
Layatu Latu. Like it's just clearly we don't have the firepower at the edge that we want with
Yeah.
Kwity Paye, who I don't think he's ever had more than 8 sacks in a year.
Yeah, and that's the thing with
Yeah.
I was never a fan of Quiddy Pay. Like I defended him his rookie year because he's a rookie. I was giving him, I'm gonna give you your grace. But I mean, that's as the years go on. Like he hasn't been like
No, he's a miss. He's a
he
miss.
was.
It's, as a first round pick,
Isn't
he's a
it?
miss. He's a miss.
Yeah,
It's a first
and
round pick. It's not like he was a third round late flyer that you got and
mm,
you got some decent production out. It's not like Taekwon Lewis. Taekwon Lewis was a second round pick, and I
yeah,
think it was a good pick in the sense that, like, yeah, he's not the most productive guy, but we've had him since he's been drafted. He's never left the Colts.
mhm,
He's been a rotational guy. He makes some plays here and there. He's an effort guy, a good rotational player, a hustle player. Um, and he doesn't cost us a lot of money. Kwity Paye is on a first round pick salary. Granted, it's not the
yeah,
craziest salary in the world, but first round pick salary. He's a first round pick guy, so you expect him to start and make an impact almost immediately, which this is beyond immediate now. We're his fourth year in, and like we still have
yeah.
gotten nothing, fourth or fifth year in, and we've gotten nothing really from him. We got 8.5 sacks is the most we've ever gotten, and it's just not enough.
I would have kept Dio. I would have kept Dio over Quiddy.
You
I
know,
like Dio.
Odengbo is another guy that I thought like, hey, we didn't really miss on. There's so many, and I think we talked about this
Mhm,
where I was listing some of the draft picks that we had and stuff, and I said there's guys that people would consider misses that I don't consider misses on Chris Ballard's behalf because they are good
mhm,
players. There were circumstances beyond the football of it all that led to their
yeah,
departures. And so Dio's another one that I think that he didn't
yeah.
miss on Dio. He just, unfortunately, we picked the guy. We had a guy that we liked a little more, and we rolled with him. I think Dio was a good pick as well. So I think there is
Well,
a chance we could draft a guy that we might like, but chances
I
are
think
still
so
low.
too because some of the best pass rushers in the league weren't even first round. Max Crosby is a good example. That guy was a
Robert
fourth
Mathis is a
round.
good example.
Robert Mathis. I
Yeah.
mean, the dude. Yeah, I mean, those guys were later round picks, and
Yeah.
they were Gary Brackett wasn't the one. He was
Gary
so
Brackett was an undrafted free agent. Gary Brackett is one of my
yeah,
all-time favorite football players ever.
yeah,
I love Gary Brackett, by the way.
he was so good. Cato June was another one. I mean, so
Yeah,
for
Cato's
like
one
you
that we
don't
let
have
walk.
yeah, and you don't have to have a first round pick to have good pass rushers. You can find them third. Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson was third round pick.
Yeah.
Max Crosby was a fourth round pick.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong at
Like,
all. Like I think you can definitely find them
yeah,
in the later rounds, and they're it's hit or miss. And I don't, I said it that like because I'm obviously the defender, the ultimate defender of Chris Ballard, as you know.
yeah.
Love Chris Ballard, don't want to see him go, but I think that that's the one thing I have a hard time defending is his ineffectiveness at getting us a pass rush. We haven't had a pass
Yeah.
rush. Maybe that's on the defensive coordinators, or maybe that's not.
I
It's
don't
there's.
know.
I don't care where you want to put the blame for that. I just want it to be known that that is a problem. Like it is
It
a
is.
big time problem. It arguably just as big as our quarterback situation. It's arguably just as big
Yeah.
because we have such a full roster that the quarterback. I always said this. There's two schools of thoughts, right? For me, either A, you have your franchise quarterback that can mask holes throughout your team, so you could spend a lot of money on quarterback and a few other things, and then some of the other
Mhm.
guys you cheap out on, and it's okay if they're not the best because you have a franchise quarterback that can really win you games. Or B, you have everything else in the world, you spend top dollar for all of those positions. Edge rusher needs to be top dollars, offensive line top dollar, skill positions top dollar. And then you go and get a quarterback that can manage the game for you, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on that quarterback. You get a guy that is
Mhm.
trying to revive his career, you get a rookie, whatever it is, you just get some guy that's going to come in and just not. You get Jacoby Brissett. You get
Mhm.
Jacoby Brissett. You get a guy that's good enough, not great, but good enough to get the job done if you have everything else in the world okay. You get Daniel Jones. That's where I think Daniel
Yeah.
Jones fits into that pocket, is because he's good enough to get the job done if everything else is working great. And so that's where you invest all the money in. And right now, I think the Colts are only in the position to do the latter, which is build everything else and pray that your quarterback doesn't screw it all up.
And that kind of reminds me of Tannehill back in those Tennessee days. Uh, Ryan Tannehill wasn't a guy who was going to win. He's not going to win because of Ryan Tannehill, but he's not going to lose you the game either. All he's got to do, give the ball off to Derrick Henry, throw the ball to AJ Brown. Uh, I'm a big Daniel Jones supporter, as uh, in the chat. I believe, it's such a hard thing with the off season. I'm such an off season nerd as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you resign Daniel Jones. Trey Hendrickson, a guy like Trey Hendrickson is going to cost Sonny. Now, whether he's willing to take a pay cut because of the hip injury this year, was that what it was?
I'm not sure. I'll look that into it, but go ahead and continue your thought
Yeah,
beyond that.
yeah. His injuries and things like that, and the fact that he hasn't played a whole lot. I think he's only played maybe 2 games the entire season. Um, there's teams that are going to be looking at it. They'll probably want to sign him, but they're not going to want to sign him for the money that he's going to want. And I think the Colts can take advantage of
Core
that.
muscle
I
injury.
think, yeah, okay, and I think the problem is if you're going to want it, because Alec Pierce is going to want a big contract. He's going to want a good contract, stay in Indy. You're going to give Daniel Jones probably,
Alec Pierce is going to
I
take about
think,
$18 million off of our books right there.
yeah,
Around 18 million.
yeah. I
No.
think Danny, he's going to probably take 30. But really, if you can get him at 25 a year for 3 years, I know that's less than what he's making now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good team-friendly deal. And if you restructure some contracts, let some guys walk, I think it is possible for Dre Hendrickson, but it's very unlikely. And then if Lou decides to be a head coach, I don't think it might happen. I think those guys are going to go to where he's going to go.
All
Uh,
I know is as things stand today, Philip Rivers is not capable of playing quarterback in the NFL. He's simply
no,
not
not
capable of doing it. And I hate to say because I love Philip. I think he has had an incredible career. I think
mhm.
extremely highly of him. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks I ever had the pleasure of watching. It's over, dude. It's over, and we need to
Yeah,
not deal with this. I think that Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen, Carly Ursay Gordon, go ahead, go into your closet, grab your little rainbow afro, your squeaky red rubber nose, your big clown shoes, hop in your clown car, and go to work because that's what you guys are looking like, a whole bunch of clowns. This organization looks like clown organization for this. Like why are we choosing to embarrass ourselves, humiliate ourselves for what? The dude couldn't throw the ball 5 yards down the field. It's no matter what we put around, this isn't it.
mhm.
And I think that we just, I want to see, I get what you're saying, like, and I want to see Trey Hendrickson. I know I brought that up as well. Like, I'd love to see that. None of this matters if Philip Rivers is our quarterback. I know next year he's not going to be, but actually, I
Yeah.
can't say that because in no world would I have thought he was going to be our quarterback this year. So I
Well,
can't even say
it,
that.
well, in all fairness, I think they did reach out to Sam Ellinger about coming back,
He
and
turned
then
us
Sam
down.
Ellinger said, yeah, he turned it down. So I think he was just
Yeah, but Sam is
he was
ass.
literally like yeah, he was just a last resort kind of thing. Sam, yeah, he wasn't, I don't know, he wasn't good. I
I think
think
he was
Riley
ass.
Leonard is better as a
I don't know if we can say
QB.
that because
I
we just
think,
don't know enough about Riley Leonard. I'm going to stay consistent on Riley Leonard. I'm not going to defend him or
mhm,
praise him or anything. And I'm also not going to critique him too harshly. We've seen one half of football from Riley Leonard. At the
yeah,
end of the day, it's not enough to make a judgment on him.
yeah,
All the one point I stand on is what do we have to lose versus what do we have to gain between Riley Leonard and Philip Rivers. When you talk about what we have to gain, Philip Rivers does not give you any more reasonable advantage in a football game than Riley Leonard would, especially
mhm,
after watching what he did last week. It does not look good. He looked absolutely atrocious. He does not belong in the NFL anymore. I hate to be the guy that says it so bluntly, but someone's got to say it because Shane Steichen today announced that he's going to start again in San Fran, and they were all saying, well, he did very good. He did better than expected, and yada yada. And they're just sounding like idiots, and I can't stand it because can we be for real? Like, this is why I said that we're a clown organization right now, because we're acting as if because the score was close, Philip Rivers'
Mhm.
performance was acceptable. It's not acceptable. At any point in, like, there's no level of NFL football where that is acceptable. Not a single team in the NFL would have that performance and be like, yeah, I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a really good job. No, like, that is by every
No,
metric a terrible job at quarterback. By every metric. So
but this is
it's
coming from
it's
a
just
big
ridiculous.
Steichen defender too.
What's that?
I said this is coming from a big Steichen
I
defender as
love Shane
well.
Steichen, dude, and I'll tell you what, like, this is I said, you saw me in the Discord. I said he chooses to start Philip Rivers, which again he's choosing to do. I said fire him yesterday.
Yeah,
Fire him yesterday
yeah.
for that. We have playoffs online. Like, I know the doom and gloom of Indianapolis Colts fandom. I'm there. I said it. I was saying it maybe 2 weeks after the news of the fibula injury. So Daniel Jones was still
Mhm.
playing, and I said the season's over, guys. I don't see us winning enough football games to make it like this. Daniel Jones doesn't look good. The offense doesn't look good. I've been saying it for a while. So I've been doom and gloom for a while. So I
Yeah.
understand this idea where it's like, the season's over anyway. But it's not actually over. So for fans, we can be emotional, be like, oh, the season's over. But I don't want to see my organization move as if the season's over. Them starting Philip Rivers to me is, yeah, season's over. Let's get some headlines. Let's make some headlines. Let's get some media splash. Let's do this. Like, this
And,
is, it's ridiculous.
yeah. And that's where I kind of disagree because I think Philip Rivers gives them the best chance to win, but I think Riley Leonard
Well, let's
could.
define this. Before you continue, I'll let you finish that thought in a second, but let's
Mhm.
define this. You say that Philip Rivers gives us the best chance to win. What's that chance? Give me a number, a percentage. Give me the number, and then give me the number that you think Riley Leonard is. So we could try to compare here, because I don't see what everyone else sees when they say he gives us the best chance. If the best chance to win is 5% chance to win, which is what it feels like with Philip Rivers at quarterback, I don't care
Yeah.
about the best chance to win. I care about getting intel. I want to know what my plan is going to be going forward. Philip Rivers is not a part of it. So let's evaluate what we have available to us to see what the hell we're
Mhm.
going to do. Because to me, if your best chance to win isn't a reasonable win, like, it's not like we're not trotting Philip Rivers out there like, yeah, I think we can win 2 of the next 3 with Philip Rivers. Hell no! After what we saw against Seattle, hell no! I give him a 2% chance to win at best against anybody.
So before Seattle's game, I gave the Colts a chance to win Philip Rivers. I gave it about, I know it is high. I gave it about 60% chance. I give it about a
Holy
55%
shit.
chance now.
55? So you still
And
think they'd be favorites? Like, that would
so
mean that you're going into the game thinking we're the favorites. We should win this football game with Philip Rivers
a
at
fifty five
quarterback.
percent chance, yeah, to win out. I gave him a 55% chance. And the reason I even say that is because one, he knows the offense very well. Two, um, he's got really good relationships with the players. And three, just his knowledge of 21 years of football, and the guy has seen every defense. Now,
Yeah, he'd be a great
give
commentator
it,
for sure. Give him a
yeah.
headset on
Now
the
give it,
sideline or something, like, but he can't play in
yeah.
the football game, dude.
I think he'd be a good coach. I think he'd be a hell of a good coach for
Yeah,
the
that's
NFL.
perfectly
But
fine. Give him as an assistant,
yeah,
coordinator, something. I don't give a shit what it is. He's a coach in high school. Go ahead, let him grind the ranks up. There's no reason for him to be putting pads on in 2025.
yeah. But that player, I give it a 55% chance because Philip, he's very limited. He's not mobile. Given he was never mobile when he was playing, that arm is shot. That arm is shot to hell. And the game's a lot faster. The offense, you're going to be seeing a lot more pass blocking, um, and really the line excels in blocking, and RPOs, and because you're taking away a majority of the offense. You're not running RPOs with Philip Rivers. You're not running. You might run play action with a guy if he doesn't trip on the
No, I
50
think you can
yard
still run
line.
RPOs with Philip Rivers, because RPOs are just handoff or quick throw, and I think that's perfectly, like,
Yeah.
in line with who he is. He's a quick thrower or
Well, yeah.
handoff, you know.
But he's limited on what he can do versus
Yeah,
what
very limited.
you
I
have
understand
with,
that.
yeah,
He's 600
and
pounds.
and yeah. I mean, Philip Rivers looks just as big as I do, and I don't know what's even sadder. The 44-year-old looks like I do, or the 34-year-old looks like him.
So, yeah, I get you, dude. Yeah, no, man. I mean, you might as well be able to trot out whoever you want, the NFL or not. It doesn't
Yeah,
even matter at this point because, like, why does it matter? I
yeah.
just think that,
So, and
like, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it was I like going back to it. I think it was just it was aspiration. Anthony Richardson has been out. Ellinger said no. I mean, who else were they gonna get? And I understand Taylor Heineke's he's waiting for his chance. I think Mike White as well. But the problem with those guys is that they're gonna have to learn this offense in a few days and then go out and play. With Philip Rivers, I don't understand why they did it, but I understand why they did it. Does that make sense?
All right,
You know, like
go ahead and explain that one.
yeah. I don't understand why they called Philip Rivers to play of all people, but I understand because he knows the offense really well,
Mhm.
and he and his mind is very sharp for the NFL, and he knows. Like you said, the guy's seen every single. I'm pretty sure he has seen every single defense that's been thrown at
Sure.
him, and he knows when to make the plays or he knows when to make the checks, how to change the protection, maybe even change the plays from a pass to a run, things like that. The
Sure.
problem is that he's so limited with his age and with his arm, and they could if
That's
they
all I was
win,
really
they're not.
getting at too, dude. Like, I agree with all of
Yeah,
the things that he knows all of these things, but did it seem to help
yeah,
him? Didn't seem to help him at all. Knowing those things
no,
didn't
and
make a single lick of difference. I mean, maybe it did. It led him
yeah,
to score one touchdown, but one touchdown is clearly not enough to win a football game in the NFL.
yeah,
So,
and
does it
so
matter?
well, I was gonna say. So here's the thing. So with Riley Leonard, he doesn't know what Philip Rivers knows.
Well, we don't
He,
know
I
that. Well,
mean,
yeah, you're right. You could say that, but we
yeah,
don't actually know that, and he'll never know what Philip Rivers knows unless you give him the
yeah,
reps. But sure,
yeah. So, but he's not. He's gonna miss some defenses. He's not gonna
yeah,
change the plays at the. He's not gonna change the protection of the line of scrimmage. Hell, Anthony Richardson didn't even do that when he was a
right.
starter. Um, and then right. So I get it. I think if the Colts lose this Monday Night Football game, I think Riley Leonard's gonna start for the rest of the season.
And
Because
sure, and I think that'll be good for him still to get some reps, and I hope that that's
mm,
true. I'll say this though, this for me, this was my tipping point with Shane Steichen. This is a very selfish, self-centered decision to
mm,
start Philip Rivers. And I think the same thing for Chris Ballard when he signed off on bringing him in as well, because I think they both
yeah,
know our careers in Indianapolis might just be over at the end of the season. And because of that, they're going to make this desperation play that gives us half a percentage more chance to win and make the playoffs to save their careers. When in reality, we need to start focusing on our future more. This season's over.
yeah.
Start Riley Leonard. There's no there you get absolutely no real advantage to starting Philip Rivers. It does not make sense. Let's find out what we have with Riley Leonard because chances are he's not good enough to start in the NFL. Sure, it's a very difficult position, and I am a champion of that. I do not. I hardly like we've talked about quarterbacks a lot over the last couple of weeks,
Mhm.
right? And I think you're starting to understand that I'm the harshest critic of quarterbacks. And the reason why I'm such a harsh critic of quarterbacks is because they're the guys that get all the money. They're the guys that are going to get all the glory and all the blame. And that's
Mhm.
the way it should
Yeah.
be when you're paying those guys 50 million a year and whatnot. And you're sacrificing paying guys who work their asses off to do all the other jobs that make his job easier. You pay them peanuts compared to the quarterback. So yes, I'm always going to get on the quarterback harder than anybody else in the league, period. It's what makes the position such a difficult position to play and succeed
Mhm.
in. So chances are Riley's not going to be successful. But the problem is we have no idea and he's just sitting on our bench. Why not find out? What is the
Mhm.
risk that you are losing? Like, what are you don't have a good chance to make the playoffs anymore. Philip Rivers is not giving us a good chance to make the playoffs. So you're not really risking the playoffs, right? What are you really risking by starting Riley Leonard? There's nothing. There's no reason. And AR officially, by the way, breaking news. I don't know how to make a breaking news sound, but breaking news, AR is cleared. He's medically cleared to play. And guess who's not activating him from the window just yet? So
Well,
Shane doesn't want to
yeah.
activate AR. Neither does Chris Ballard. And I mean, we'll find out more on Thursday. They asked him about it, and he said it's a conversation he's gonna have Chris and the staff about Thursday would be when he's eligible to be activated
Mhm.
for his practice window. So we don't know yet if they're gonna activate him or not. But like the way they speak about him and the way they're talking about it, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen anyway. So they have no interest in bringing AR in at any point this season. Clearly, don't
Yeah.
have interest in bringing in Riley Leonard. They're gonna go ahead and die with Philip Rivers. I think this season's over and we're just going to be a clown show for the rest of the season and enjoy, I guess. If it's something that you guys, if you had any expectation as a Colts fan of winning, like I did, it's time for us to lose that expectation, change our expectations, and maybe we can enjoy the last few weeks of the season of seeing Philip Rivers throw the football. Every now and again, he might give us something to cheer about, but it looks bleak, and I'm not excited at all for the remainder of the season. I'm on to the offseason already. It's over.
Well, that's the way fans do. I think that's the way fans should be. Because if you're not optimistic about a season, and I don't think you should be, and hold on, because if you're not optimistic, and you're just like, oh great, because at the beginning of the season, I'm gonna be honest, I was telling myself, oh God, we've got Daniel Jones as our starter, Anthony Richardson's our backup. Oh Jesus Christ! And then the Miami game happened, and I was like, oh wait a minute, dude, it took me 3 weeks into finally caving in and buying tickets because I had optimism than I had before. And with the season being the way it is, I mean, I kind of doubt Sauce Gardner's going to play. I doubt Buckner's going to play for the rest of the season. Braden Smith might be out for the rest of the season, and Barnard Raymond's going to be probably going to be out for the rest of the season. If we lose this Monday night game, start Riley Leonard. I mean, Philip Rivers came out. He came out of retirement. He gave us a fight. He gave us a chance. Chance isn't there. Team's not good. Move on to the next off season and see who you're looking at second, third. The next day and pick. See what you can do. Who you can sign. Who you can't sign. Um, and you could still make trades. You could still make some trades for some players, but it's if they lose this next game, I think the season's officially done.
Yeah, and yeah, I get it. I think even with the injuries, the offensive line didn't play so bad, with all things
Mm-hmm.
considered. Didn't do much in the run game, but I mean, close to 100 yards. It was relatively a
Yeah.
rough. But again, you know what this goes back to, and I just thought about this point just now. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
fans that would comment about Shane Steichen's play calling week in and week out. We need to run the ball more. We need to run the ball more. We win if we run the ball more.
We
We just
did.
ran 25 times and we didn't even get 100 yards and we lost the game. So I just want to know, do you guys still feel the same freaking way? Keep running the ball until we win? Because that's not how this works. I love Jonathan Taylor to death. I think he's the best
Mm-hmm.
running back in football. Um, it's you don't just automatically win by handing them the ball every single time. He averaged like
No.
less than 4 yards a carry this week. I think the offensive line is part to blame for that, but at the same time, it's 11 guys on the offense that have to work together to make shit work. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit there and just say the reason the run game didn't work is because Jonathan Taylor didn't or because the offensive line didn't work well. It's everyone's involved in that. But it's just not as simple as run the ball more and we win. So all those people that shit
It's
on Shane
not.
Steichen's play calling week in and week out, whenever he would throw the ball more than you would like, and you think you're gonna win because you think we should run the ball more, it's clearly not the case. Let's drop that narrative. I think if any reason Shane Steichen should get fired, it's for starting Philip Rivers. That to me is a fireable offense. And that's the same thing that goes for Chris Ballard for bringing in Philip Rivers in the first place. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is a fireable offense. I defended them plenty. You know me. I think we should bring them back. I've championed them. But if those two, with those guys, that decision that they made to start Philip Rivers, that to me was a breaking point. Now we're a clown show. I don't like to see us look like a clown show. Sayonara. Sayonara.
So,
We'll figure it out.
so yeah. So Steichen and Ballard. Ballard is a free agent at the end of the year. His contract's run out this year. Um, if Carly brings him back, it would probably be on a 2-year deal. Steichen, I think, has another year left on his contract, or he might be a free agent coach at the end of the year too. I'm not really
I'm
sure.
looking
I
it up
don't.
right now.
I
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead and
okay.
continue with your thought. I'm looking it up.
But I think Carly, I think the big three, I think they're going to bring him back. I think you're bringing Daniel Jones back. Um, I think Daniel Jones is going to be back on a 3-year deal with a team option at year 2, and we'll see where it goes from there. Because if they get if they get a new GM, uh, a lot of the older players, I think just to save cap space, and to get those first round picks, I think guys like Q, guys like Buck, um, I think they would be traded off just
Yeah.
so you can recoup a bunch of that money and
I'll have
picks.
to look into the dead cap situations for those guys and everything, but I will update you.
Mhm.
So Shane Steichen is good till 2029. Chris
Okay.
Ballard is good till 2026, end of 2026 season. So we still have another year for
Okay.
Chris Ballard and another 3 years for Shane Steichen after this. So,
Okay. So he signed
um,
a 6-year deal
yeah,
then instead of the 3.
yeah, 6 year for Shane Steichen, and then it was
Mhm.
the Chris Ballard signing was a 5 year contract in 2021 where he did the extension for 5 years in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Him and Frank got that extension, and
yeah, yeah.
things went there.
So, with all of that being said, all right, let's end the
Hmm.
show on what's probably not as positive a note as I would like it to be, but predictions for the Indianapolis Colts Monday night home game against San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, we know Philip Rivers is starting, so go ahead and I want you to give me your score prediction along with a quick stat line for Philip Rivers. What do you got for me, Jesse?
I think I'm being optimistic here. I think the Colts win 21-18. I think Philip Rivers goes 135 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks. And I think, yeah, that's yeah. I think the rest is going to be run heavy, and he's going to pass. He's going to be short mid throws.
So, okay, so you're saying we win, what was it, 21-18, you said? 21 to
21-18.
18.
And we went on a field goal.
All right. I am going to say the Colts are going to lose this game 24-7. Philip Rivers is going to play
Let's do that.
one half, and we're going to bring in Riley Leonard because the experiment has failed, and we're going to recognize
Mm-hmm.
that after one more half of football, and I pray that that's all it takes to recognize that. You bring in Riley Leonard. Philip Rivers throws, let's say, 15 passes, completes 6 of them, goes for 45 yards, maybe has an interception, and Riley Leonard comes in, throws a touchdown, maybe throws 2 interceptions, and yeah, we just get absolutely creamed by the 49ers on national television. I don't have any faith. I have zero faith. With Philip Rivers starting the game, I have zero faith. The only thing that brings me faith is if we bring in Riley Leonard quick enough and maybe we could see what we have, and I'll lose faith very quickly if he starts to play like ass again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good situation for us. We're not in a good place. I don't see us. I honestly don't know if I could see us winning another game for the rest of the season. The team as a whole is such a good football team that I do
Mm-hmm.
think we have the capability to beat anyone. But I also think because of how bad the quarterback play is, I will not bet on us to win another game. There's no chance. Like, I can't do it. I just can't
Yeah.
overlook just how bad we are at quarterback right now.
Well, and then it doesn't get easier because Jacksonville's a good defense, and then Houston's going to be a good defense. The Niners, they're held by glue, gum, and tape, and they're not a bad defense either.
Fred
So,
Warner. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah,
Fred Warner.
yeah,
That boy's a dog. Is he playing?
yeah. No, he's out.
No,
He
he's
tore his
out. He's
ACL.
out. Yeah, towards the ACL. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what it was? Is I saw a video of him doing like these karate kicks and stuff like that. He was doing some crazy
Yeah.
rehab stuff. And I was like, oh, dude, he might play again. Like this dude looks ripe. He looks ready to go. But no, yeah.
If I was gonna say if Daniel Jones didn't get hurt in that Jacksonville game, I think he would eventually recover from the tibia injury. Because I think it's or fibula. Because one of those injuries, I think they had said that it after a while you'll start to
Heal
feel
on its
better. And he
own.
was feeling
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally the day the game he got injured, he said he was feeling a lot better, and it didn't look great. Like he looked a little bit better. He ran. He actually
Mhm.
ran. He actually ran the
Yeah.
football. So like that was something to have some faith in. And I'll tell you this: if we still had Daniel Jones, I think I would feel a little bit more comfortable. I wouldn't be as pessimistic about this.
Mhm.
I still would probably be pessimistic just because the late season for Daniel Jones has not looked good. So
Yeah.
unless we would have won that game in Jacksonville, I think
Yeah.
if we lost that game in Jacksonville, I would still be doom and gloom today, even with Daniel Jones at quarterback. Yeah.
I think we would have won with Daniel because before he got hurt, he was carving them up. Like,
He had one drive, dude. He had one drive. It was
yeah.
not like that. The first drive, he threw the interception. Then he had another drive where it looked kind of good, but it was one drive. It really wasn't like he was doing anything amazing. I guess maybe I'm just really hard on him because of the past few weeks. So it would have taken him to
Yeah.
be like the greatest quarterback of all time in those 2-3 drives he played in that Jacksonville game for me to like get over it. But yeah, I didn't see anything that made me feel like, oh, Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones is back. Like that to me was still Daniel Jones, not Indiana Jones. Indiana
Yeah.
Jones was an aura around him. He doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah. The offense was a little more fluid before he went out. Then he got hurt, and yeah.
All right.
No,
Go ahead. Any closing words? Because we're about to wrap this one up.
no. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a really good Monday, and we'll see what happens next Monday.
Absolutely. And hey, I want to just say, I didn't get the chance to say this at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to get better about this. But if you do appreciate the content, you guys enjoy it, we appreciate you guys for watching, commenting, liking, and sharing. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell so you get the notifications when we post our videos. Also, follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. We're also on X, so follow us on the social medias. And if you want to join the conversation with me, my man Jesse, or anyone else that may be joining us, you go ahead and hit the Discord link. It'll be in the description. Jump into the Discord. We are very active on game days and throughout the week as we talk about all the random Colts news that pops up across our feed. We're building a really, really fun community of people that have very strong opinions on the Colts. It's all love. We rarely agree. I've rarely agreed with anyone in the Discord as of yet, but it's all been love from everybody, man. It's been a good time, and I'm really excited to be part of a Colts community as I live in Florida and don't have any Colts fans around me. So this is my way to reaching out to the community. So if you want to join the convo, hit the Discord link in the description of this video. If you're seeing this video on TikTok or something, send a DM. I'll send you a link to the Discord, and we'll get you guys activated from there and get you guys into the community so you can join us. And so with that being said, we will see you guys. I would say, next week, guaranteed Monday, but you know me, I like to do my random pop-up episodes, so you might see me tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday as well, before the game as well. So if you want to see that, please tune in, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. With that being said, man, I appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, peace.
You won't regret going to Discord.